In the double lift, we are apparently turning over and displaying the top card to the audience, but in reality, it's the second card from the top, and the top card remains hidden. Now let's look, first of all, at how to obtain a break beneath the top two cards. There must be a justification, as always, for the right hand to come over the deck. So we can pick up a spread, we can dribble the cards, we spread them between the hands. At this moment, the right hand comes over the spread, the cards are squared and brought into a slight beveled configuration, like this. If you now pull up straight with the thumb, you're going to separate the top card from the rest of the cards, and you continue pulling up, and you can pull up the next one, and you could do it with 3 and 4 and 5 this way. So, now the important thing, as we have already seen with how to obtain a break underneath the top card, is not to have a movement of the right hand going like this, but the right hand is more or less motionless. The thumb just feels for the card, and the left hand moves a little bit downward. So that is the action which is sufficient to obtain a break underneath the top two cards. Another way of achieving it is by displaying it, as you will see the performer section. I will use this technique quite often. I take the top card, and as I do, I push it over, but keep pushing with the left thumb. So the top card is going to be pushed over. And the same technique applies as we've already seen in the beginning. The left thumb pushes back and thereby enables the left little finger to obtain a break beneath it. So here's the action. I say, I'm going to put this card over here. Now, of course, I have to put the card back on the pack. Now, this needs to be an in-transit action. So I will say, and please take your forefinger. Take your forefinger, and I indicate the forefinger like that. So that's an in-transit action. It's a principal action. And I would like you to put your finger right on this card. I must be able to put it there, for instance. It's one example how to manage that. And yet another possibility to obtain a break beneath the top two cards is by simply pushing the top card a little bit over, then keep pushing and pushing the second card over, and pull both cards back, and in the action the left little finger can obtain a break beneath the top two cards. Now, once this is done, there are different ways to display the card. Now, the origin of the double turnover was the double lift, which is somehow, regardless of how it is gripped, the card is taken and lifted up from the deck. So it can be done that way, it can be done this way, it can be done that way, whatever. A good and safe way for you to start at the beginning is to simply show the card like that. It's in a secure grip. You keep moving it lightly so that even people who have a very sharp eyesight cannot see the two cards. There's a little pressure with the forefinger, not too much. Don't hold the card like that. Nobody holds a card like that. Don't hold it like a brick. Just hold it like it was a very light leaf, like a playing card. Yes, very lightly. Now again, you have to create an in-transit action to put the card back, because otherwise if you just say, this is the 3 of spades, I'm going to put it here on the table. This is not artistic card magic. This is bad card magic. So find a way, for instance, say, sir, would you stretch out your right hand? Yes, a little bit higher, please. Yes, thank you. 5.3 inch over the table will do. And then you go like this. And if we do a little gag, this will cancel the memory of what we just did before. It helps for the deception. Let's now look at the double turnover. In the double turnover, the card is, as the term suggests, turned over on top of the deck. Now it's immediately boxed with the rest of the cards, which has the advantage that no one, regardless from which angle they look, can see the thickness of the card. And we don't have to find a reason to replace the double card, but can immediately just take the top card and put it on the table. So let's look at the exact fingering of this slide. We have already obtained a little finger break. The left thumb moves on top and fixes the card, this securely. So whatever happens to the card here, this card is locked on top of the deck. The fingers of the right hand move in, move this a little bit out, and you get the card into a so-called pinch grip. Now, pinch grip is if you have two fingers on the bottom, you have the thumb on the top, and you very lightly press in this space. This will cause stability of the card. It prevents that the cards misalign. So we go like this. Look that the forefinger protects the outer right corner of the pack, so you don't see this, because that's the moment you could see that 2 cards are being lifted off. To avoid this, the left forefinger protects that angle. You go in, pinch the card, now slide it over and bend it very gently. Bend it very gently. This will make that the card remains aligned at all times. Now, with a very gentle toss, let it drop a little bit forward, just about twice or 3 times the width of the white border will be enough. Immediately block the double with your left thumb. Get the forefinger down there, press down lightly. I'm going to exaggerate this action a little bit. You see, if you exaggerate, the cards split, otherwise they don't. Just very lightly. And push back. Immediately the left little finger can reobtain a break beneath them, and you give a light tap from the back like so, yes, which makes that all the cards are in a perfect way. Simply repeat the same action, and you got the double back on top of the deck. There are a few things to take into consideration. First of all, don't look at the card when you turn them over. A good way to misdirect the spectator is to say, well, the top card, and point to the card. Now lift the finger and look at the audience through the finger. Keep the gaze on the audience and lower the finger. Now start the double lift, and as it falls face up, go back again and take the 3 of spades. There's going to be your card, which you're going to place over here. So that's effective management of the gaze and the action, and it's the wonderful idea of Juan Tamariz, one of the great masters of card magic. Whenever we do this type of double lift, there is a tendency to keep the deck towards ourselves. First, because it just feels more comfortable. Second, because we somehow want to protect the card. But of course, we are showing this to our audience, so it's very important not only to slightly tilt the deck towards the audience, but also to wait. There is a tendency, of course, we have a little fear that we are going to be detected. So we want immediately to turn it back again. But this has to be fought. It's necessary to at least keep this position like for 3 or 4 seconds and say the 3 of spades. And if you have a little bit a larger audience, to go like that, make sure that everybody gets a good view of the card. If you have a larger audience, like in a parlor situation, even stage, we can lift the deck like so and display it in a vertical plane, then go back here, turn them over, and proceed as the requirements of the trick are. Do you believe that the hand is quicker than the eye?
No.
That's what I say about it. Well, let me show you an experiment that depends on quickness, okay? So I'm going to take a playing card, which we're going to put like here. So it's the 4 of hearts. I put a magic circle, so to speak. Here's the 4 of hearts. We can the card over there for the moment. And take another card, which is going to be in front of you over here, which is the King of Clubs. Mm-hmm. You can touch the. It doesn't come off. Some people think the color rubs off or so. That's really a card, right?
Right.
And on the back, it's also a card. You touch. Yes.
Yep.
Very good. Put your finger on it. Yes. Right. So the King of clubs, and we're going to enter the circle and put the deck on top of the 4 of hearts. Good, yes. Look. Very quick. The 4 of hearts has vanished. Well, it's not really vanished. It penetrates the deck. Now look, it goes up. Look. It comes up to the top. Now, that wouldn't be bad, but I want to show you a miracle. Look, I just go like this. And now I have your king, and you show them.
Come on.
4.
Awesome.
Rise and swap belongs to the rare category of card tricks where a card is not selected. Therefore, it's very interesting to occasionally put a card effect of that type into a routine, into a little act. So I'd like to show this to illustrate how to handle the double lift, and also how to manage a transposition. Transposition is a problematic effect category because it's very easy to create confusion. There's that great magician Divernon always said, confusion is not magic. So let's see how we can put the utmost clarity into this presentation so that people really remember which card is where. So I start out by double lifting the top two cards, and here is the handling I would use in this particular presentation. I will take off the top card and push off the next card, so that's the handling we have previously discussed in the technical section. Put it back so I can show the circle, and I go with the card, yes, on in this space. So the identity of this card is associated with this space. Now I turn the double over, maintain the position, and move the hand away. This is a very clever idea of managing the double lift by the great Juan Tamariz. Because the moment the card is turned over, the spectators still see the image of the four of hearts. Now I move over to the second spectator, use exactly the same technique than just explained to show this spectator the king of clubs. With the double lift, it's always a problem that you can say, this is the king of clubs. I'm going to put the king of clubs over here. That's a bad thing to do. If you did that after some time, you will notice that some people, they feel challenged. They say, oh, let me see. Because they've seen some tricks and they believe they don't believe any longer that the things that you say are the things that really are. So here's a way to get around that, and is to say, so the king of clubs, this is your card. Touch the card, yes, and touch the card from the back. I'm going to put this card over here. Now I'm not saying the king of clubs, I'm showing this card. So I've generalized, using a word generalize the identity, and this doesn't create a challenge you create if you say I'm going to put the king of clubs there, which really isn't. So I have the spectator put his finger on that because I don't need to do anything over there. Now here we have an indifferent card. The king of clubs is on top, and this has already the card from previously over there. I show the card has vanished, pretend it came to the top, introduce a break, and say, well, that was not very bad, but it's a miracle if I snap over the card, show that it has traveled over there, then let the spectator himself turn over the card, and it's the previous card that was over there. Johann Nepomuk Hofzinser, he was the most famous card magician of the 19th century, Austrian magician. He changed the way magicians would look at magic, you know, especially card magic. So I have inherited the glove of Johann Nepomuk Hofzinser. Now whoever wears it can do some fantastic things. And I hope to do this right now for you. Look, the cards, I'm going to drop them like that. And Anna, please say stop whenever it pleases you.
Stop.
Stop. Look at the card.
Okay.
Caitlin, look at the card.
Okay.
Please remember the card. Somewhere lost in the pack. Yes? Now, I'm going to wear the glove of Johann Nepomuk Hofzinser and do hopefully something very incredible. Look, we're going to take one card and we're going to put it over here on the table. And well, I hope it's not your card, right? Three of diamonds, not your card?
No.
Good. Look, very slowly beneath the glove of Johann Nepomuk Hofzinser. What was your card?
Ace of spades.
Ace of spades? Maybe to change the ace of spades.
Wow.
But we can look. It can change into any card. Look, name any other card.
Eight.
Too late. It's gone. I'm afraid.
That is a magical glove.
No, it's a magical glove, and you know, I'm going to keep this because I never know what I'm going to use it for, you know, in the future. Any questions at this point? No.
Nope.
Well, there is a scientific explanation for that, you know. Yes, it's like a mirage in the desert. You see something, but it's not real there. It's somewhere else. It's only a mirroring of it. Now, your card was the?
Ace of spades.
Ace of spades. Now look, the ace of spades really has never been in the pack. No, it's been a mirage. Because all the time I was a little bit uncomfortable sitting. Did you feel that's a little bit uncomfortable? Because on the chair,
Look, I'm going to stand up
What?
on the chair.
In
Look.
the world.
Oh,
Amazing.
With the glove of Johann Nepomuk Hofzinser. It's one of my favorite card pieces. Vanished without a trace is a variation of Rub-a-Dub-Dub from Expert Card Technique. Now the theme, the plot, is the glove of Johann Nepomuk Hofzinser, and this gives a dramatic reason for why something is going to happen to the card at all, you know, why it changes, why it's going to vanish. Technically, a card is selected and brought to the top. What you saw in the performance section is this particular handling where I dribble the cards, the spectator says stop, and I'm going to show the bottom card. That is a very efficient and practical control when spectators are further away, such as in parlor or in stage work, because the audience doesn't have to pick the card and put it back. In this case, it's the 7 of spades. I replace the packet, maintain a break between the two packets, and bring the pack to elevated dealing position, always maintaining the break as we've seen earlier in the course. Now I do the post-peak overhand shuffle control, which delivers the card to the bottom, and I do the overhand shuffle where the bottom card comes back to the top. So selection is on top. I put on the glove, and now I will have to do a double lift. Now, since there is not much feeling in the fingers where you have a glove on, here is the procedure. I take the top card, and as I push it off, I also push off the second card. And as I display the card, or I gesture with the card, the left thumb pulls back and obtains a break beneath the top card. So now in an in-transit action, I place the card on the deck by saying, I'm going to the magic is going to happen here. This is the main action. I go immediately back and can do very easily a double lift. So displaying an indifferent card. Now comes the first transformation, and it has to mirror exactly the handling I'm going to use a little later, which is the Rub-a-Dub-Dub vanish. So here is how it looks to the spectator. I push off the card. The hand, yes, the right hand goes like this on top of the card, and this little corner, yes, is seen, which is going to be important a little later. It's a magic moment, and the card is displayed after that the spectator has named his card. Now, as always in these cases, rather than turning the card with the face towards the audience, I turn it first towards myself, has a dramatic pause, and then drop it on a table. Now that's the effect. Now immediately I pick up and say, of course it can be done with any other card. I put it back again and apparently do the same thing. Yes, I did before. In reality, this is the Rub-a-Dub-Dub move. You push off the card. Apparently, you go get in this configuration, apparently push the card on the tabletop. In reality, the thumb pulls back. So there's quite a deceptive little move. And also the fact helps that before we have associated this space, of course, with this precise action, and people have still in their mind the picture of the card, which was there really a minute earlier. So here we go. And as before the spectator names a card, I say, oh, it's too late, and it's a vanish. This usually causes quite a strong reaction. Yes? And in the moment of relaxation, I just go back. In the moment of relaxation, I thumb off the top card so it drops in my lap. So now the trick is apparently finished. I take off the glove and lean back. And if I have a jacket, I just put it in my jacket like this. Or I put it in my pocket, or I can put it in a bag or whatever. But naturally, the body drags the left hand, yes, on the lap. And it's this moment that the left hand just adjusts the card so I'm able to just stand up afterwards and display it on the seat. Now comes the sort of, well, seems to be the end of the presentation, and say there was a scientific explanation for that. It was a mirage. I show it's no longer here. Yes, that's very important, because otherwise, when I show the card on the chair, the spectator might believe, well, he has a duplicate card. So it's important to eliminate that solution before showing the card. So display the card has vanished. I wait until spectators confirm that. So after a very short dramatic pause, I start to stand up very slowly. And if I have a small audience, like, 2 or 4 or 5 or 6 people around a table, they would already see the card, and that's enough. That's the climax, that's the reaction. If I have a slightly larger audience, or I have a group of people standing in front of, then they will already react, and people will look at their faces. It's a very good moment. And immediately I lift the chair, wait like 2 or 3 seconds so that this image sinks in, and then, if I like, or if it's possible, just spill the card on the tabletop. It's a wonderful, very effective magic trick.